Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Crystal Sayers, and I'm the owner of New Beginnings Health and Wellness here in Calgary, Alberta. And thank you so much for watching. Today, we are talking about what our pain is trying to tell us. So our segment today is called Ask Crystal, what is my pain trying to tell me? And so feel free for those who are watching now just to pop your questions in. I would love to hear who's watching. Hi, Melissa. Great to see you on. And yeah, where are you watching from? So lots of people are watching these from all over the world, and it's just so exciting that we can connect in this way. And so to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a certified body talk practitioner, and I help people with health issues, money issues, mindset issues, and I see miracles in people's lives every day, which is super exciting. And I really had it in my heart to start this because I feel like one of the biggest issues that I've come across in my own life and in the lives of those that I work with and just people in general is a lot of times we're not as aware as we could be in terms of being in tune with our bodies and understanding what our bodies are trying to tell us when we experience pain. And so pain is an opportunity really for us to listen to the body, because a lot of times we can be thinking, oh, I've injured myself, and so therefore I just have to work on the physical aspect, maybe go to physio and do some other things. But there can be oftentimes a lot of emotional and psychological issues, especially if we have been through a traumatic situation, an accident, so many different things. So today I have some exciting things we're going to talk about. We're going to get down into the nitty gritty of how our body is actually mirroring or giving us an opportunity to understand some of the deeper issues that could be needing our attention. So this is what I love about body talk, is these things actually can often come up during a session into our awareness. And once we become aware, the body mind complex can then release it. And it is just so powerful. So we use tapping and we use, formulas and those types of things. And it's very exciting. It's very relaxing, but at the same time, it can be incredibly freeing. So yes. Hi, Allison. Great to see you on here today. Melissa from Airdrie, Alberta. Wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free, just like I said, to pop your questions in if you have a particular area of discomfort or pain. And I have a couple others as well who have asked some questions that may not be able to be here today. So I'm going to answer those questions too for them. And some of it's very common issues that many of us all face at one point or another in our lives. So I'm just going to grab a little glass of water here and we'll get started. Okay. So I had somebody ask me about an ingrown toenail. So this is very common, right? I think the majority of people have experienced at one point or another ingrown toenail issues or feet issues. And so I'm going to start with the ingrown toenail, but then I'm going to talk a little bit about feet issues in general and what your body actually could be saying to you. So I've come a little bit prepared for this because I knew this person was going to be asking this question. I'd be answering this for this person. And so things related to toenails, and especially, ingrown toenails are typically big toes, but it can happen on any of the other toes as well. I've experienced it all. So I know very well the pain of an ingrown toenail, and it is not fun. So one of the things just in general that the feet are responsible for is helping us to move forward and helping us to change direction. And so issues related to the ingrown toenail could actually be related to change, the need for a change in direction, but experiencing resistance. There could also be high frustration about maybe yourself, about someone else, or about a situation in life. So that would be my next question is, are you in a situation in your life right now where frustrations are really high? And, is there a way to maybe decrease some of that? In addition to that, expectations upon ourselves can be extremely high. And so I would just ask you if you're experiencing this and you are noticing, or maybe as I'm talking about it, you're going, oh, ding, ding, the light is coming on, which has happened for me. Am I struggling with the expectations that I've put on myself and they're really too high? So what would be a way for you to be able to address that, or maybe lower your expectations so that there can be more contentment, less frustration in your life? Um, what else? Oh, sometimes ingrown toenails can also relate to things like not just ingrown toenails, but issues with the big toe specifically, overthinking, over planning, and obsessive types of organizing. So feel, just very obsessive types of behavior can sometimes be an indicator that perhaps some changes need to come into place. So again, it's like the high expectation and for performance. Let me see what else. Also, specifically to the speaking to the ingrown toenail, there can be issues related to your sense of, or your rights, feeling that you have the right to move forward, and maybe even feeling bad or guilty about moving forward. And so that could be something else to maybe consider is, is there an area in your life where you are wanting to move forward, but maybe you feel bad about it for various reasons, right? It could be relational, it could be so many different things. So those are just some examples of what could be happening with the ingrown toenail. And if you guys are just popping on, please just hit hashtag replay if you're watching later on. If you're watching live, I would love to kind of just hear your heart, I guess, or where are you watching from, and any questions that you have about any pain that you might be experiencing in your own body as well. Nothing is too small. So see, this is the thing we have to understand is an ingrown toenail, for example, can seem very minor, but if you have had one and have experienced it, it interferes with everything about your life because you don't realize until you're in that level of pain and discomfort, which I have been. I'm not kidding you. And I had to go to a podiatrist to address the issue. And then I learned how to take care of it. But you can take care of something, which basically would be like slapping a Band-Aid on it without really recognizing, hey, the body is trying to tell me something. So what I'm sharing with you are some examples of, yes, deal with the physical, but then what can you do to address maybe some of the emotional, psychological, spiritual things that could be affecting you as well. So here's some questions just to think about if you have issues related to your feet or maybe the big toe specifically. One would be is do you resist change? So are you resisting change in your life? And if you are, just think about what's one thing that you could do to maybe create a little bit more ease in that area. Okay. Are you frustrated or irritated about something or someone? How can you begin to reduce the frustration? Sometimes we need to have a conversation with somebody, or sometimes we need to put a boundary in place in a relationship, because maybe that person's walked all over you, for example. And what you need to do then is set a boundary. And setting boundaries can be extremely uncomfortable, but they can be extremely freeing once you've done it, because at least, even if the person didn't respect the boundary, at least you've said your piece, and then you can work on other ways to move forward, because sometimes people really don't respect boundaries and you have to be very, very strong, on your boundaries, but you will feel better once you do it. And actually, I probably will do something maybe a little class on how to appropriately set a boundary with someone and feel good about it. So yeah. Okay, what else here? Let me just see. I'm just watching the comments here too, so feel free just to pop any questions in. Yeah, we talked about expectations. So here's something from Louise Hay. This is specifically for the person who has an ingrown toenail issue. This is from Louise Hay. She's really great. I've got this great little book. It's called Heal Your Body. Probably, I don't know if you can see it very well. Anyway, it's called Heal Your Body, and it's kind of got exactly what we're talking about. It has sort of some categories of things that we kind of deal with on a regular basis, or various people, what it could possibly mean. They're just little one sentences, but she includes an affirmation to help you with the repatterning of the belief systems. So an ingrown toenail. So this is what Louise Hay says as an affirmation, or something that you could say. You can take this and make it your own. It is my divine right to take my own direction in life. I am safe and I am free. So that's just, it's very, very simple, but very intentional repetition and engaging with the five senses as you do affirmations can be very powerful. So, yeah, so I see some questions and stuff coming in here. That's great. So I'm happy to answer those. So just something to think about, that's why, for me, my husband probably starts making fun of me now, because I'm like, I'll have an injury or something will happen and I'll be like, okay, so what could my body be trying to tell me? But he kind of gives me a bit of a hard time about it as a joke. And I'm like, and he goes, so what do you think your body's trying to tell you? And I'm like, and sometimes he already knows because we've had the conversation before. And I'm like, well, why don't you tell me? So anyway, and usually it's quite accurate. That is one thing that I have found in terms of what I've learned, and even just about Chinese medicine, and how the body not only has a physical consciousness or awareness in terms of its function, which is very much the view of Western medicine, but in Eastern medicine, it's the understanding that also that each part of the body has another level of consciousness, and that is where it can be, symptoms can be our body trying to get our attention, that something deeper needs to be addressed. And I just love the combination between the Western and the Eastern medicine, and the thought between both of them, because it's all very much integrative. Okay, so let's just see here. So Melissa says, okay, what about being tired and having brain fog? Ooh, this is a good one. Maybe explain to me what type of tiredness you're experiencing. Is it that you're not sleeping, or is it like you're feeling very tired during the day? I will just say this. I usually say this at the beginning as a caveat. I don't diagnose or treat. And so, I definitely recommend, if you are having any kind of struggle, whoever it may be, not just Melissa, but anybody, any type of struggle, you should always go and see your GP. For sure. I recommend you get whatever healthcare that you need to address the physical stuff, right? So that is super important. And okay, so let's talk a little bit about brain fog. So many things can be happening within the brain. And, so if I look at sort of let me just talk about the brain in general, actually, first. So a few things that could be going on with the brain are expectations. That's another one. So we talked about the toenail, but also things going on with the brain in that sense of brain fog could be related to pressure, expectations. Brain fog can relate to also maybe to some confusion, or a lack of clarity, right? Because if you think about fog, so what does fog do? Fog impairs our ability to really see clearly, right? So in the same way, any sort of sense of fogginess could be related to that. It can be related to a myriad of physical issues as well. So I'm not discounting that all needs to be considered. But from just looking at it, purely like, what does the fog have to do with? Usually it can relate to confusion. It can relate to just a lack of clarity related to something in your life, could be related to decisions that need to be made and things are foggy or a bit hazy. It also can relate to, if we think about the eyes, so you have, so there's brain fog, but the eyes in a way have to do with the ability to see, right? So, or the sense of sight. And so, again, this whole aspect related to clarity and potential confusion about an issue or a situation or a relationship or just life in general. So I hope that helps a little bit. The tired piece, boy, that's a big one, isn't it? Tiredness can be can be happening for so many reasons. It could be very much on a physical level. Tiredness can also happen on an emotional or a mental level as well. So one thing that I've noticed in my own life, having been somebody who has been through burnout several times, is when I would be triggered and feel very physically, I would feel this crazy lethargy. But what I found actually was every time I was triggered emotionally, I would feel tired. And so sometimes our energy levels can be very much affected by uh, our past experiences or trauma, ongoing or chronic trauma. Like, so I'll just give you an example. For example, COVID. I mean, like that's like blaring in your face, and everything about COVID is just, it's mentally, emotionally, physically exhausting, because there's always changes and relationships are, there's so much division and different ways of viewing things. And hi, Kelly, nice to see you on. And so one of the things that can happen is you can become chronically exhausted, and it's not necessarily physical. It can be emotional, right? So for example, I'll give you a prime example from my own life. I like to be vulnerable because I want you to know I'm real, just like you. I have my struggles, I've had struggles. And so as an example, every time because of sort of past money issues, so struggles with money in the past, every time my husband and I would have a conversation about something, I would get triggered about my concern or the lack of money, my fear of not having enough. And so what would happen that I started really noticing is I would become really tired and feel like I need to have a nap after that. And all we did was have a conversation about money, which, I mean, for a lot of people, money is very stressful. So part of what I do is help people address the money stuff because it affects every area of our life. And so that's just kind of a prime example of how, it wasn't a physical situation. It was a conversation, but I was triggered by past money trauma or past, I would say PTSD, to be honest. I mean, I'm not diagnosing, but I'm just saying like that type of response, it would lead to me feeling really exhausted, and it was more emotional and mental. So I hope that helps a little bit. And on the mental side, it's the same or very similar in that, we can become mentally tired. Sometimes we're overthinking things, so we can become mentally tired in that way too. So that's why I'm asking, like, what kind of tiredness is this? And, one of the great things is that if you can, when you're feeling a certain way, for example, when you're tired, or when my husband and I would have these money conversations and I would immediately move into lack mode or like fear of not having enough, what would happen is if I took the time in that moment to go, okay, what exactly is going on? Why am I all of a sudden feeling exhausted? That's how I figured out that it was a mental, emotional type of exhaustion based on, fear, really, because fear can cause all kinds of, wreak all kinds of havoc, within our bodies. And so I really want to encourage you just to think about it. So if you're in a situation where you were feeling really good, this happens actually a lot. And I mean, sometimes we can really be affected by other people and kind of what they're dealing with, especially if you pick up on that type of stuff a lot. But I can be in a situation where I'm feeling really good, and then I come into another room where I do something different, and immediately my mood has changed. And I'm like feeling angry, and I'm like, what is going on? So you can either just go through it and you deal, and you go through it, but you really never become aware of why you're being triggered when you walk into that room, or why you're being triggered when you walk into, or you meet a particular person, or you're talking with a particular person. And so this is an opportunity for you to kind of stop and go, okay, so I was feeling really good. Now I'm in this particular room or this situation. What is it about this person or about this room that is really making me feel exhausted or tired or angry? What is it about that? And so lots of times what you'll find is that it's much deeper than we think. So for example, I think I shared a week ago about a situation where somebody had made a comment to me, and I was immediately triggered, immediately angry, and I could have just kind of carried on and been mad at that person. But I recognized in the moment that I'm like, wow, I'm overreacting to the situation. So if you can, even if you can become more aware of when you're overreacting, and then just take a few minutes aside. Honestly, this is so powerful, you guys, because you can get healing very, very quickly if you can recognize it. And that's really what these Wednesdays are about, is can you recognize what your body is trying to tell you, and are you ready to address that issue? And if you are willing to see it, maybe a different perspective, you have an opportunity to heal and to respond differently, and then your life becomes different, right? So that's the amazing thing about this whole aspect of creating new levels of awareness. So I hope that helps a little bit. I know I kind of went on a little bit there, but I really want to help us become aware so that we can heal, so that our bodies, it's not just our bodies, but our bodies, our mind, our emotions can heal. And so it's super important that we are aware. And one of the things that happens a lot of times is when the same thing is happening over and over again, and you heal from it physically, or slap a band-aid on it, mentally or emotionally, and then it happens again. So going back to the ingrown toenail, I recently had a situation actually where I smashed my toe in the span of 2 or 3 days twice. So I hit my big toe once, and it was very, very painful, like 8, 9 out of 10 level of pain. It was bad. And then several days later, I was doing something, and I was actually I was quite angry. I was doing housework or something. And I'm like, and when that happened, what I didn't realize was I walked into something and literally just smashed my big toe again. And I was like, okay. It was like ding, the light went on. It was like, Crystal, you need to sit down. You need to rest, because that was the other part of the issue for me, is I was doing some things and I was trying to get stuff done. But internally, my body was going, you need to stop what you're doing and you need to rest. And so finally, I'm like, okay, I have to sit down. I literally need to rest. And so what is your body trying to tell you if you keep getting injured in the same spots, right? It's because there's something deeper that needs to be addressed oftentimes. And because that area can become weak. So we can become more weak or more vulnerable in certain areas. And so if we are aware, then we have a way to be able to really build that area of our life up so that we become stronger and our body becomes stronger too. Okay. Hi, Grace. Nice to see you on here. Anybody else have any questions for today? I hope that helps. I'm going to talk a little bit just while I'm waiting. I'm checking the chat here as well, but I'm going to talk just a little bit more about the feet because I did say that I would. So one of the things relates, as I mentioned, to expectations. So issues with the feet can have to do with our expectations. Could be that our expectations are too high, or it could be that our expectations are low and we need to bring them up, right? Also, one thing that can be happening, I was looking at the wrong one here, also has to do with grounding. So feet relate to grounding. It relates to our connection to earth, physical connection, but also in every way, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So feet relate to grounding. So are you feeling grounded, in your life right now? And if you're not feeling grounded, then okay, so what are some things that you could do to help yourself feel more grounded and connected? Also, the feet relate to our foundations, right? So, what is the foundation of your life on right now? So, what is it that you're standing on right now? And is there an area in your life that maybe you need to strengthen? And that standing or feet issues, could be related to, whatever the foundation of your life is. Maybe there's a situation. I actually had somebody kind of speak into my life, and they said, this was a little while ago, and they said they were talking actually about kind of returning to my foundation because it was kind of like something in my foundation was cracked. And here was the issue. It was my sense of worthiness and self-worth. And they didn't know, but they were bang on in terms of kind of what I was working through and walking through at that particular time. So it really kind of got my attention, and again, am I grounded, in, like, for me, I'm a faith-based person. So for me, it's about really being rooted and grounded in the love of God. And, but also self-acceptance, right? Loving myself, supporting myself as well, giving myself permission, right? All of those things. And my sense of worthiness, I deserve and I am worthy of love, respect, honor. I'm worthy of good, healthy relationships. I'm worthy of, a great clientele in my business. So these are just some things. I'm giving you some examples. So is there anything within your foundation, maybe, of your life, your sense of self-worth that maybe needs to be looked at and healed even, right? We all need healing. So the last thing that I'll say about the feet is that it relates to our mobility, our ability to move, right? We talk about move forward, but it could be move back, move to the side, right? To maneuver. So if you're having issues with your feet, are you struggling with your ability to be mobile or to move forward, backward, take a step back? For some people, this isn't about moving forward. For some, you need to step back from some things, right? So just something for you to consider, right? Yeah, so I really hope that helps a lot. I don't see any other questions. I could have missed something little, but I think we're good. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. I don't know if there are any other questions. I'll just give you a moment just to ask them. There's a bit of a lag with Facebook, but that's okay. And if I can do anything, to help you on your journey, one way that we can really address a lot of these, the underlying issues that relate to our health is through body talk, which is what I do. This is why I'm so passionate about it, because it's much faster. It expedites the process of healing. So I would really encourage you, I do a free 20-minute consultation, no obligation, just to chat about what your needs and whether body talk is a good fit for you. I also offer coaching sessions as well. And so, there's many opportunities for you to be able to heal and even to expedite the process. And it's not like I'm giving you a bunch of homework. You actually come to the session and I'm really asking your body through neuromuscular biofeedback what it needs. So it actually knows. Our bodies are so complex and so amazing that it knows how we got wound up to where we are in the first place, and it knows how to unwind us so that for optimal health, spirit, soul, and body. So feel free to reach out. Happy to meet with you. I'll put a link so you can actually do a 20-minute consultation with me just to chat about your needs and anything else that you want to talk about. And have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And feel free, if you're watching later on and you have some questions about pain that you might be experiencing within your body and you want to know what could this be trying to tell me, feel free just to reach out and I would be happy to answer that for you. All right, have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.